Okay, so it's 10 seconds remaining to go live.
Sujalda, put on your video and mute your audio, Sujalda. Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's 3, 2, 1. We are live to the audience. We can start this meeting. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, friends. And this is Arpan Kumar Paul, welcoming you all to Life Pharma Coalition on this warm Sunday morning. In fact, Life Pharma Coalition has become the elixir of learning and development for the pharmaceutical industry for the last 155 sessions. Today, in fact, is our 156th session. We have all heard of Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary, but we know that Edmund Hillary was the first person to climb Mount Everest. But do we know that he did not succeed in his first attempt? In fact, his success came in his third attempt. But when he failed to climb Everest or conquer Everest in his first attempt, he wrote a line that as a mountain, you cannot grow, but as a human being, I will definitely grow. And that is exactly what happened. Mount Everest remained in its same height, but as a person, Mr. Hillary grew and grew and grew so much that he finally conquered Mount Everest. And that is what a leader needs to have: the confidence in his abilities and the desire to succeed. And these are the two things that will definitely bring about a change in the mind of a leader. And that is the difference between an ordinary leader and a charismatic leader. So today, in fact, we will be discussing on leadership from a very, very wonderful person who has not only learned leadership, but has practiced it from his heart. In fact, with leadership, we can say that there are basically two primary ways in which leadership goes about. One is the autocratic leadership, and the second, which we can call the democratic, and if we extend it further, servant leadership. Well, we can classify these two as a Hitler and a Butler leadership. Okay. So in case of Hitler leadership, we know it's my way or the highway. But in case of a Butler leadership, where we have servant leadership, we say that, well, if you want to help a person for a day, give him a fish. But if you want to help a person for a lifetime, teach him how to catch a ship. And that is an extension of servant leadership, which we can call as steward leadership. And in today's dynamic world, leadership or the leaders, the half-life has reduced because they have to constantly upgrade their skills through learning, unlearning, and relearning. And no wonder Alvin Toffler has said that the illiterate of the 21st century are not those who cannot read or write. Rather, they are those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. At Zydus, they follow a very simple mantra of promoting leader. That is, we build people to build our business. That means they believe that leaders are not born, they are made. And Zydus is a place where leaders are made, and they create leaders so that they can take up the onus of building the business. So in our endeavor of learning and development, let us never be like a mountain, because a mountain is hard and straight, but it does not hold even a drop of water. Instead, let us be like the valleys, which can always hold the water. Not only hold the water, it will also allow the water to flow. And that is exactly what Life Pharma Coalition does. Every Sunday morning, it invites leaders from different facets of the pharmaceutical industry globally and allows them to share their learnings, to share their knowledge, just like the flow of water, so that the entire pharmaceutical fraternity gets enriched by the learning and development. And thank you so much, friends, that you have given us this wonderful opportunity of sharing the learning of leaders through these 155 sessions that we have had so far, and have given us the privilege of conducting the 156th session with one of the stalwarts of this pharmaceutical industry. But before I deep dive into this wonderful person, let me just take you through the journey of LPC so far. So welcome to Life Pharma Coalition, which is a global knowledge and networking forum for the pharma professionals. And we basically have sessions which deal with manufacturing, sales and marketing, global, packaging, supply chain, HR and L&D, and academics. So this is the executive team of Life Pharma Coalition, who always meet and greet each other and share ideas about the different dimensions in which we can take this wonderful knowledge sharing platform to different parts of the globe. At the same time, we have our wonderful mentors and advisors who are just a call away. And in fact, they are the ones who have given us the owners. They have been the wind below the wings so that we can do better and climb higher in our quest for learning and development. Thank you so much, Pharma Ratna Universe 2022, for giving us the Healthcare Webinar of the Year award. And thank you so much, Shaba sir, for giving us this honor and always being us motivation in our journey towards learning and development. In fact, when COVID closed the doors, LPC opened the windows for learning and development through digital learning. And when COVID became less, we opened our physical learning as well with our first physical meet at Mumbai, which was courtyard by Marriott, and the date was 17th of March 2022, and it was supported wholeheartedly by the entire pharmaceutical fraternity. Next, we had our physical meet at LPC 125 Conclave at Ahmedabad, which was at Hotel Novotel. And thank you so much, Nayak sir, for being instrumental and accepting our invite to be the guest of honor at this venue and sharing your wonderful experience in the pharmaceutical industry, your knowledge, and giving us your support for making LPC what it is today. Thank you so much, sir. Our next meet was at LPC 3.0 Navi Mumbai, which was an amalgamation not only of the pharma industry, but also of the pharmaceutical college. And it was in association with SIES School of Business Studies, Navi Mumbai. And thank you so much, the pharma industry, as well as the pharmaceutical management students who have helped us to make this session a big success. The last one, that is LPC 150 Conclave, in our quest towards amalgamating the pharma industry with the pharma management colleges. This time the venue was NIPER at Hyderabad. And thank you so much for being such a wonderful host for this session, and to the wonderful leaders and the professors who have shared their learning on LPC 150 Conclave. Well, these are some of the moments that we had at LPC 150 Conclave. And in fact, it wouldn't have been possible without the support of the student leaders at NIPER, who actually made this session so very successful. Now, coming to LPC 156, today's topic is really interesting and very close to my heart. The topic is create transparency and empowerment, the mantra to effective leadership. And who better than Mr. Sajal Chakravarti, who has had a glorious journey in the pharmaceutical industry, to take this topic ahead. And along with me, I also have Mr. Yashwant Mishra, who is the founder director, Benzene Ring Learning Solution. Now, to take this session ahead, I will request Yashwant ji to give a small overview of today's topic. So Yashwant sir, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Arpan. Thank you very much for the great introduction. And welcome all to Life Pharma Coalition, a global knowledge and networking platform for pharma professionals. As Arpan mentioned, today's episode, LPC 156, which is a leadership episode, is going to talk about one of the very relevant subject for all the leaders across pharmaceuticals, and that is the mantra to effective leadership. And there are two things component into that: create transparency and empowerment. These are the two mantras where today's speaker is going to talk about. And today's speaker is none other than Sajal Chakravarti sir, NSM in Zydus, and sir is going to throw upon light on what is the mantra according to his more than 3 decades of experience in pharmaceuticals. He will share with us about the mantra for good leadership. Some of the points Sajal sir is going to touch upon are how to be a good leader. Then 13 key behavior of a leader. As you know, leaders are known for their behavioral trait, how they behave with their people, how they behave with their customer, how they behave with their stakeholders. So what are the key behavioral traits of a great leader? He will also talk about the key component of a good leader and 4 core competencies: intent, integrity, result, and capability. He is going to talk about these 4 core competency of a leadership. Not only that, emotional intelligence is one of the very, very important component of leadership in today's situation, when a lot of uncertainty is there. The entire dynamics of pharmaceutical industry is changing, and leaders are finding it difficult to manage people in this uncertainty, and that too managing the millennials, Generation Z people. This is a very great leadership traits are required. So a lot of learning coming to you. Thank you very much, Sajal sir, for accepting our invite and being a part of today's session. I will hand over to Arpan now to give a brief introduction of Sajal sir. So viewers, keep on sharing your learnings and questions. Over to you, Arpan.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, audible
Yes,
also, visible also.
Yeah, visible. There's been a load shedding, so just bear with me.
No
It's always said that for a good occasion, these are omens which we always have to take in our stride. So learning is something which is said that we have to conquer all eventualities that come in our way. Well, Sajal sir started his career from the year 1987 as a medical representative at the Malda district of West Bengal. Well, Malda is famous for not only Sajal sir, but also for the wonderful mangoes that we get and which are famous worldwide. And he joined Zydus in the year 1990 and worked till the year 2022, where he reached his superannuation. And not only that, he was a very, very successful MR, and many times he was rewarded as a superstar and man of the year. He was a very successful ABM and RBM, and many times he was rewarded as the best ABM as well as the best RBM. Gradually, he was elevated to the position of ZSM, and after that, he was elevated as NSM and then DGM. Then after DGM, he became GM sales and finally elevated as a GM sales and marketing. He completed his superannuation in December 2022, and now the esteemed organization Zydus has extended his service, working as at Zydus Navdisha, based at East at Kolkata, and who is looking after more than 20 divisions right now, and successfully doing that. So he has a person who has basically taken everything as a challenge. When he started with Fortiza, a division which very few could put their money on, he was a person who actually took the division to a very high strength. And today he has been presented, or he has accepted another challenge of taking Navdisha to another major height. And I am very sure that Sajal sir, in his love of accepting challenges and coming out as a winner, will definitely do justice to this and once again make this a wonderful division of Zydus. I have personally heard of him, and he has also heard of me for so many years. But it was only last month when I had gone to Kolkata that he invited me to his office, and that was the first physical interaction that we had in this wonderful 25 years journey with Zydus as far as I am concerned. And that is the time we actually discussed of onboarding him on LPC for a wonderful session. We even discussed on the topics, the sidelines of the topics we discussed, and I can assure you that he has prepared a wonderful presentation, and definitely a lot of learnings has gone into it. His experience in the pharma industry has gone into it, as well as the knowledge he wanted to share. And it is totally organic. And Sajal sir, it's all over to you. The platform is yours. So let us now sit back and enjoy the wonderful presentation that you have taken so much time to prepare. So Sajal sir, it's all over to you.
Thank you very much, Arpan, for highlighting such a very wonderful word for me. And thank you, Mr. Ashwant. And I would like to thank LPC, Global Knowledge and the Networking Forum, for giving such a very wonderful environments and the atmosphere and the platform to express my views on the leadership. And good morning, my viewers, ladies and gentlemen. And good morning, my mentors who are watching my program on leadership. So I would like to share my screen now.
Visible, दिख रहा है. Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
In fact, the most pernicious half-truth about the leadership is that leadership is all about vision and at the same time, charisma. But fact is that leadership is to be acquired and at the same time is to be the owned. And who can be an example out of this? Dr. Ganesh Nayak. Dr. Ganesh Nayak started his career in the year of 1977 as a medical representative, and today he has reached to the pinnacle of the pharma industry. Millions of the people are followers of Dr. Ganesh Nayak, and he is an executive director for Energizers. Today, my topics: create transparency and the empowerment, the mantra to effective leadership. Whenever I would like to take you through about my content, I would like to highlight the 8 to 10 slides to you. First, I would like to touch upon how to be the good thinker. Then I would like to highlight 12 to 13 key behavior of the leaders, which is important, particularly so that leadership to be followed by the peers. And I would like to highlight the key components to be the good leaders and the 4 core and the key components, which is very, very important, particularly for the leadership traits. And the well-talked subject, and I will touch upon, that is management versus leadership. And then I would like to highlight to all of you why the emotional intelligence is the most important, particularly for leadership. Then I would like to touch upon the 10 steps to the more fulfilling life for a leader. And I would like to highlight about the trust, how the leader can get the dividends because of the trust, and because of the deficiency of the trust, how they pay the taxes. First, how to be the good thinkers. Good thinker always pump the good ideas. They read books, they listen to music, and they review the magazines. And they spend their most of the time to the good thinkers. Why? So that they can get the inputs, they can get the idea, they can get the good thoughts, they can put them practice, and they can utilize it in the time of the need and get the results. So good thinkers always expose yourself to be the good thinkers. And at the same time, good thinker expose yourself to the good inputs. And good thinker they always choose to think the good thoughts. And at the same time, they act on their good thoughts. Why? It's very important because every thoughts and the idea, they are having a very short life. If you do not act on that, it gets expired. So you should start the acting before the expiration date. And at the same time, to start thinking process, you should not rely on your feelings. If you wait until you feel like doing, it is going to be too late to achieve your objective. Rather, you should allow your emotion to feel your thinking so that you can create another good thoughts. What are the core behavior is that important, particularly for leaders? And I have seen to my leaders, and I have seen them in my growing stage from the budding stage or from the day of my inception from Energizers. They always talk straight. They demonstrate respect. You can judge a person's character by the way he treats people who can't help him or hurt him. Whenever the demonstrate respect means is the principle of the respects, principle of the fairness, caring, love, and humility. And they always create the transparency. It's the most important. It's about being open. Create the transparency. It's about being real. It's about being genuine. That means you are telling such a way so that your peers can identify what you are telling, what you expect from the people. So it's very, very important. It's also the principles of the honesty, openness, at the same time, authenticity. And then the right-wrong identification. In today's context, whenever you know what is right, but you are not doing, it is most cowardice in the world. Right-wrong identification means identifying what is right you are doing, and you are taking and you are correcting your mistake. And I have seen good leaders always confront the reality. Even they stand very firmly in the time of this adversity for the sake of organizations, for the sake of and for the benefit for the peers. They always get better. And I just listened to Arpan talk. That a get better means something means you will have to just emerge as in a victorious such a way so that you can also keep your learning window open. That is not any end of the learning. Before that, in earlier, people try to say the who do not know how to write and read, they are the illiterate. But in today's context, the people who doesn't know how to learn, unlearn and relearn, which was the most favorite talk of Dr. Nayak, they are being considered as a illiterate. And you know, good leaders always deliver the results. They never go by the excuses. And I have seen Dr. Nayak to talk. The good leader is always in spite of, not because of. They always transform their blood to the sweat and they earn the respects. And they show the loyalty. They show the unswerving loyalty to the organization. They clarify their expectations so that peer can identify what leader expects. And they practice accountability. And they listen first. The good leaders talk most, but they listen the best. They get strength from the inner strength, which help them to continue the good work, which help them to continue to guide, to direct to the people in the right path. And they extend the trust. What are the key components to be the good leaders? To me, good leader always focus on individuals' positive contributions. They don't include very awkward criticism that puts employees on the defense. They always talk the positivity. They always look to the optimistic side of the people. They identify what makes them the unique. They establish a common language for the strength-based development that continues the net thriving. What are the 4 competencies for the leadership? Mr. Ashwant just told you is the very most important. First is an intent or integrity. To many, integrity means honesty. But I strongly believe integrity includes honesty, but it's beyond of that. It's much more. It's being congruent inside and out. Integrity means it's having the courage to walk in accordance with the values and the belief of the leaders. It's the character of the leaders. Leader never compromise with their values and the beliefs, even in the time of the adversity. And intent. Even my new leader, I have learned Mr. Harish Sadhana to talk about this in intent. If you have a good intent, you can move the mountains. But it's always not a good intent will not help you to move the mountain. If your intent not being backed, along with your motives should be the straightforward. Your motive to be the best of this mutual benefit, so that PR can identify that you are having a real feeling, particularly for them, and you are having empathy for them without the hidden agenda. And at the same time, that is a capability. These capabilities, these are the abilities that inspire the confidence. Means it's the leader's attitudes, skills, knowledge, wisdom, these are the capability. And at the same time, the yielding the result or the result focus. What the result focus? That's the leader's track record. Track record means its trajectory, growth, and the performance. So now, I would like to go and highlight to you what is the difference between the leadership and the managements. Because with whole Bharat talked, and every people would like to go and learn, and you'd like to listen this. What is the difference between this? Management is about the copying with the complexity. It's bring the orders and the predictability in the solutions to the solutions. But at the same time, copying with the complexity cannot help to you to yield the results or to ensure the success every time, until and unless you do not know how to cope up with the rapid change, because world is changing very fast. So leadership is all about then, is about the learning and how to cope up with the change. Leadership involves the setting directions, but the management involves the planning and the budgeting. Leadership involves the aligning the peoples and provide these motivations, provide the encouragement to the peoples. But the management involves the organizing and the staffings and provide the control and the solve the problem. And they work like a troubleshooters. So leadership is all about the directions and the motivations. And then I would like to touch upon about the emotional intelligence. It's a very, very important, because leaders know how to execute the emotion, at the same time, how to regulate the emotions. The leader never only listen to the heart, they listen to the brain, and they listen to the right brain, at the same time, the left brain, and they do the synchronizations in between their thought process for the brain and the heart. And if you just look into this emotional intelligence, that leaders should have self-awareness, at the same time, self-regulation, at the same time, leaders should know how to motivate to the people, and leaders should have an empathy, feeling to the others, trust to the people, and leaders should understand and having the social skill. I would like to highlight what is the self-awareness then. Self-awareness means knowing one's emotions, at the same time the strength, at the same time the weakness, so that they can drive to the people precisely. They can also highlight the values of the peoples, and they can emphasize for the values and get the impact out of that. What are the hallmarks they can get out of that? This yielding the good self-confidence. They can assess the things with a realistic view, self-deprecating sense of humor, and ensure the thirst for the constructive criticisms. As an example, a manager knows the tight deadlines that brings out the worst in him, so he can or she can plan his or her time to get work done well in advance. What is the self-regulations? Means self-regulation is a very important component for emotional intelligence. Why? It means the controlling, it means the redirecting. It means to know how to control and redirect the disruptive emotions and the impulses, which can help to develop the trustworthiness, integrity, and leader always find the comfort even in the time of the adversity with the ambiguity, and they can easily acclimatize themselves with the change. As an example, when a team watches a presentation, it's a leader, resists the arch to the scream. Instead, he considered the possible reasons for the failure. Leader always explain the consequences to her team and explore the solution with them and guide the team accordingly. Motivation is a very important and the important component for the emotional intelligence. Leaders should know how to encourage. Leaders should know how to induce the encouraging atmosphere and environments among the people, among the teams, among the peers. So being driven to achieve for the sake of achievement is very, very important. That can help our leader to be much more passionate, a passion for the work itself, for the new changes. That can also induce and radiates the energy or unflagging the energy to improve and also ensure the optimistic atmosphere or optimism in the face of this failure. As an example, a leader, a sales manager of a company, whenever he can see his sales performance tumble for the last 3 months or the last 2 to 1 month, instead of blaming to the others, these leaders, he owns the failure and he decides to learn from the mistakes as well as the experience, and engineers are turned around. And that is very, very important and the offer leadership. Empathy means the feeling for leaders, for peers, considering the other feeling, especially when making a decision. That can expertise in attracting and retaining these talents. That can help to have an ability to develop others. And that can also help to ensure and to gather the more sensitivity to cross-cultural differences. The leader leads the colleagues' body language perfectly and senses the interest, and he continues then the meeting and gets his job done. What is the social skill? Social skill means either managing the relationship to move people in desired directions. Means effectively, leader can know how to lead the team and lead even in a changing atmospheres. It can also develop the persuasiveness, extensive networking, expertise in the building and the leading teams. As an example, a manager wants his divisions to allies in other divisions to have a collaborative participation in a relevant convention, and that can help. Then, when an individual gets the overall satisfaction at the workplace is very, very important, because every people want the peers who are working under the leaders, they want their expectations to be the fulfilled. So these expectations to be the fulfilled, this like in missions to be adhere. Materials, whenever the peer find, there is not a dearth of this in the materials and the equipments. Whenever the peers find the opportunity to do what I do the best. And always the peers and the colleague want that someone at the work encourages, not only reprimand every time. They can also encourage my developments, my good works. They can also care particularly for the people, recognize their good work, their opinions, they count, and that can be a motivation for them to work more further so that they can also work for an organization. And that can also help to success the mission of the purpose. And that can also ensure the quality, and that can ensure the commitment to the quality. And that can also ensure the progress. And this trajectory is a very, very most important, and which also help the opportunity to learn and grow better. 10 steps to a more fulfilling life for a leader is a very, very most important. First, develop a good image. As you show your ref, it's a very, very most important. If I am the hardworking, if I really follow the system, I can expect my followers should be a hardworking. If I am the committed only, I can expect the committed colleague around. So leaders should definitely direct, and that should have a very good image, and self-image is very, very most important. He should set and reach achievable goal so that people can drive and can earn the incentive and can be recognized. Leaders always become a good conversationalists. They do not talk for the sake of this talk. They talk with a value only because they are having a values on their principles and they believe. They teach the other people's better. They speak in public with confidence and the convictions, and they manage a good relationship with the peers. They even stand firm, and they always overcome the worry and the fear in the time of this adversity. They help others to the success, and they live a harmonious life. At the same time, the 7 high tasks, which always give a good dividends to the organizations and the leaders, and which I can guess because of the tasks, that it can help to increase the values. It can accelerate the growth for an organization, growth for the people careers. It can enhance the innovations, improve the collaborations in the real teamwork, stronger partnerings, and it can help the better executions. They can work and they can find the smart workings in particularly among these fields, and that can also execute the unswerving loyalty. If you have a low trust organizations, it also pays maximum taxes, like redundancy, bureaucracy, politics, and you cannot find the people are engagement. They are the disengaged. Disengagement will be there. You can find the turnover of foreign organizations, and that is the reason our chairman told, and he used to talk even, and has told that we build our people to build our business. You can find the churning, that stakeholder also, they can turn around, and you can find the fraud also. And this is very, very important. Thank you very much for the patience hearing to me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for such a wonderful presentation on leadership. In fact, this was so organic, so well thought about, and precisely it involved every day, every moment that you have spent in this wonderful industry, and you are still spending and interacting with people, and every knowledge that you have shared has come through your rich experience that you have probably learned through your years of interaction with different strata of people working in this pharmaceutical industry. Well, it would be a Herculean task for me to summarize this in entirety, but definitely I will make an attempt to at least recapitulate some very important moments of this. First and foremost, to be a good leader, you need to be a good thinker, and you need to expose to good inputs as well as good thoughts. Now, the core behavior of a leader that you have highlighted is about talk straight, demonstrate respect, create transparency, and most important, to identify what is right and what is wrong. Then we need to also confront reality, get better, deliver results, and most important, we need to show a lot of loyalty. Then we need to clarify expectations and practice accountability. But with that, we need to listen first and then extend the trust. You also took a very nice component of key leadership of being a good leader, that is focus on individuals' positive contribution without having any prejudice on any other thing. The core competency that you highlighted in leadership is basically 4 core competency. The first is integrity, which often people confuse with honesty, but both of them, as you have once put a post on Facebook also regarding honesty and integrity, which was so well written. The second you said about intent, and along with the intent comes the content. So that I always believe that intent and content come hand in hand. Then, of course, capability. A person may be able, a person may have ability, but how well he can put that ability into action shows his capability. And fourth is focus on the result. Well, effort on one hand, but what we are deep diving into, because effort is a low-hanging fruit, but what we are aiming for is getting results from that. Then you had a very wonderful presentation on leadership versus management. And to summarize this, that leadership is about learning how to cope up with rapid change and involve setting the direction, whereas management is about coping with complexity. Now, you also explained about emotional intelligence, about self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, and empathy. And of course, emotional intelligence also has those happiness hormones, which we so lovingly call as serotonin, dopamine, endorphin, and oxytocin. The release of these happiness hormones will always play a major role as far as developing emotional intelligence is concerned. Well, about individual getting satisfaction at work, a workplace, there are so many factors, and a few of them you said about expectation, the opportunity to do what he or she does the best. And there has to be someone, the leader, who has to encourage the development of that individual. And this is something you have done so well. You have picked up people, found out their interests, found out their capabilities, and given them and taken them to the position where passion and profession work on the same line. And that is what always brings synergy to their work. And that is a place where we consider that we are not doing a job, we are rather building a career. Now, 10 steps to a fulfilling life for a leader. First of all, we need to develop a good self-image, set and reach achievable goals, because like we say that the goals need to be smart, that is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. And become a good conversationalist, because communication skill is something which actually defines a good leader and a great leader. So it is how well we communicate that goes a long way in developing relationship with our people. Then treat others well. Well, it's always said that you sow what you reap. So the way we treat others is the way we also expect to be treated. Then speak in public with not only confidence, but a lot of conviction, because you can speak well only when you believe what you say is right. So conviction is very important. Otherwise, you have to read through the lines. There's nothing else left. And then you spoke about the high trust and low trust, which was basically the icing on the cake, because an organization, these two factors, the high trust and low trust, probably determine the turnover, the redundancy, as well as the retention of the people. Because talking about attrition, we hardly think about retention, because we think about doing exit interviews. But what does exit interview do? Exit interview basically gives us an idea how we can increase retention, or what are the factors for which people leave the organization. So if we can take a deep dive into this, and then we can definitely arrest the elephant in the room, and we can definitely increase retention, which has become not only a bleeding point for the pharma industry, but any other industry as a whole. So we need to take a deep dive. So thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful presentation, which was, I will say, a total experience sharing of your over 3 decades of journey in the pharma industry. And you have so well recapitulated each and every thing that has crossed your mind, and some of the things that we discussed last month in your office, where you had invited me over such a wonderful cup of cappuccino. And thank you so much. And now I'll go to Yashwant sir, whether he has got some questions, because I already have some wonderful questions to address to sir. So Yashwant sir, it's over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Arpan. And Sajalda, it is a wonderful presentation. Thoroughly enjoyed. Thoroughly enjoyed. The way you have deliberated and shared your own experience was wonderful. So it was very, very relevant in today's contest. And although the entire session was wonderful, 2, 3 important points which touched my heart, I would like to share those things first. 2 of the leaders' name you mentioned, they are really leader par excellence. Dr. Ganesh Nayak, Executive Director of Zydus, as you mentioned earlier, he is the inspirational leader. Whenever I meet him, I get a lot of inspiration. That is one thing. And another leader you mentioned is Mr. Harish Sadana, right? They are also leader, inspirational leader. When you work under these leaders, you get a lot of inspiration. And the best part among you, Harish Sadana sir and Ganesh Nayak sir is committed to one organization, right? You have been so much committed to one organization. Entire career you all have dedicated to one organization. Whatever you learned, whatever the personality type you got, whatever growing you got in one organization, that is what is a leader. Leader will not change his mind here and there and frequently. They are committed to the organization and they bring out the best in people from the organization. That is what I liked. Second part you told about the core competency. Somehow my training program and leadership program also, I touched this point and I like that point very much. The core competencies, 4 core competencies you mentioned, and these 4: intent, integrity, capability, and result. They somewhere I heard in Stephen Covey's Speed of Trust that is a trust tree model. Among these, capability and result are the tree fruits, which is visible to everyone.
Correct.
Capability is visible to everyone. Your results are visible, but your character, which comes from integrity and intent, that is not visible. So that is the root of the tree. So the point here, what Sajal was mentioning, if your character is strong, which comes from integrity and intention,
Jashwant,
your root is strong,
Jashwant, I am
definitely
interrupting. I'm
result
interrupting.
and capability will be
Sorry.
very good. So trusty model says work on the character, work on content. What are these? So that your fruits will be wonderful example you have given, Sajalda. It is a wonderful way to listen to you, and the way you have simplified is very good. You want to share something, Sajalda?
Only one thing I would like to say to you: the most interestingly, most violation of the trust in today's context, in our family, in our friendships, in the violation of the integrity. Because if you are there, even you can find the people are the honest. The honesty is not enough until and unless you can protect your belief, what a belief you have, what are the values you have learned. Suppose for the sake of your interest specifically, if you go and run your business, it will not help until and unless you can preserve and protect your values and belief. That I have seen to the Mr. Satish Dandekar, even Dr. Ganesh Nayak, Mr. Madhav Kulkarni, Mr. Ashok Bhatia, Mr. Samir Desai, Mr. O.P. Singh, they're working on this direction only.
Thank you, thank you. So your connection with the industry stalwarts is tremendous. That is what we all become
Even
richer.
our Surya Narayan sir.
Yes, Korean sir is also. Hitesh Supreti. There are a lot of people Zydus Cadila organization has given who have, maybe some of them are still with the organization, some of them are with other organization, but these values they always carry wherever they go. That is the core point of the leadership. So thank you very much. I go to now Arpan for sharing some questions. Yes, Arpan.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Yashwant sir. Well, when Sajal sir was taking the names, they were all ringing bells in my heart because somewhere down the line, Mr. Surya Narayana was the training manager way back in 1996 when I joined Zydus. And it was his hand-holding, the wonderful way he trained us that maybe today I'm doing something worthwhile. So definitely regards to him and thanks to him for whatever he has done. Mr. Nayak, Mr. Bhatia, Mr. Kulkarni, Mr. Samir, Mr. O.P. Singh, everybody, everybody, the names that you have taken, they have been also synonymous in guiding me towards where I am probably heading towards. And in fact, they have been so instrumental towards empowering people with the leadership qualities. And that is what Zydus believes, that we build men to build our business. And that means they are constantly building people so that not only are they developing their business, but they are developing future leaders. And that has somewhere also been the mantra that LPC has also followed, because initially we started with the pharma industry, but then we took a deep dive into the students of pharmaceutical management colleges, because we believe that they are going to be the future leaders of the industry. So why not handhold them right at this moment so that we can set the pace and the direction in their seamless effort to be a part of this wonderful pharma industry. And thank you so much to our mentors who have been instrumental and who have given their pivotal support in our endeavor of involving students in Life Pharma Coalition. Well, sir, after this wonderful presentation, it would be very unfair of me if I do not ask you some questions which have been there in my mind. So you have been always highlighting about the core behavior of a leader. Because there are some behaviors which a true leader, a charismatic leader, a great leader needs to exhibit. So what did you exactly mean when you said get better as a core behavior of a leader?
Yes, Arpan, well question. I wanted to mean by the get better because there is not any end. There is not any end of the learning. Learning is this never-ending process. Even if you go, just you think of this, even the 2021 century, people would like to think the people who do not know how to read and how to write, they are being considered as illiterate. But in today's context, it's completely rapid changing of this in the world. Until and unless you do not know and cope up with the change, you do not know how to learn, unlearn and relearn, you are nowhere. So that means get better, important in the core behavior is the very most important, particularly for leaders.
Excellent, excellent. Well, it's also said that a leader knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. So the team will only be motivated if the leader can actually take them into trenches where the leader actually has entered, instead of leading them to trenches where the leader has absolutely no know-how about that. So in your thought, how does a leader stretch his thoughts to ensure the desired results?
Very good question. Or no, what I believe, the amalgamation of the good thoughts and the good peoples in a right environment at right time with right purpose can yield the results. So that means amalgamation of the thought and idea with the right thought, with the right peoples in the right environments at the right times. And if you have a right purpose, success certainly will come.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So at the beginning of this session, I was telling something about the autocratic and the democratic, that is, which I always call the Hitler and the Butler way of leadership. Yes, Hitler says that it is my way or the highway, but the Butler is always more accommodative, and there is a lot of hand holding in case of a Butler leadership. But what are your views about principle-centered leadership?
Very core question, very important question. Strongly, I believe this principal leadership, they are the service-centered. They always see their life as a mission. They never see their life as careers. They always radiate and they spark the energy. You just talk and be along with this Dr. Nayak and you can find it. And at the same time, and the most important, they are very adventure in their lives. You know this, their security lies on their stamina, on their principles, on their knowledge, on their approach, on their body language. And I believe this is all about the principal leaders.
Yes, wonderful. So wonderful. And today has been your first session on Life Pharma Coalition. And indeed, it has been very satisfying. It has been a wonderful learning for all of us. So what is the message that you can provide to the viewers of LPC on your maiden appearance on this platform?
One message, Arpan, I got particularly in my childhood from my grandmother, because she is everything is to me. And this is very, very important message. You cannot be more sensitive. You cannot be sensitive to the pleasure without being more sensitive to your pain. Because in every wound you can find there are seeds are waiting to bloom as a flower. No pain, no gain.
Absolutely. And nothing is permanent in the world, not even our pain. So we need to know that it is just the bend, not the end of the road. Because if we are going through a phase of pain, we know that just at the other end of the road, there will be pleasure. But what we need is the belief in our ability and the determination to succeed. And these are two things which will definitely take us along. And talking about determination to succeed, I can't resist myself from asking you that you have reached your superannuation, but meeting you physically also, I found there was no dearth of energy. You were also much full of energy. There was such a lot of charisma, such a lot of determination, motivation. So the only thing that I would like to ask you that what keeps you going at this age? You are just like a man of 26.
Just be positive every time. Be optimistic. Think about the people. Be empathetic. And be very sensitive. And first, you should be a family man. Then you can find that you'll be able to radiate the energy.
Absolutely. So nice. So wonderful. You have always highlighted this work-life balance of dividing the time between your family and your professional world. And a person who can do this at will, that is the work-life balance, is the one who not only successful, but who is what we call a lambi race ka ghoda. That means he's a person who is designed for the long race. So thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful presentation. In fact, Yashwant sir, do you have anything in mind to ask Sajal
Yes,
sir?
yes,
Over
yes,
to
yes.
you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Arpan. Wonderful conversation and a lot of insights. And it's a surprise, pleasant surprise for us that some of our mentors of LPC are watching this session and they have also appreciated Sajal Das session. I want to mention, and none other than Ganesh Nayak sir is live. Sir, thank you very much for taking time out for LPC and this session. Sir has mentioned good material, Sajal, from years of experience in a great organization. So we all admit when you work in a great organization and dedicate 100% to your whole career, definitely something like this will come out. Thank you very much, Ganesh sir, for inspiration. Ashok Bhatia sir is also watching. He's on live, sir. Thank you very much. So happy for you, Sajal. Wonderful presentation. You have been leading teams for two demonstration. Thank you very much, Ashok sir. And in fact, Ashok sir is in Uganda, even managing the time. It is maybe early morning in Uganda currently, and he is watching. Thank you very much, sir. Nirupam Biswas, indeed the session came as a weekend fest as no one can't ask for more. My learning for the day, I trust and it is dividend, which I shall continue to practice and excel in it. Proud to be your one of many proud associate, Sajalda. So Nirupam Biswas has commented, Rudrendu Manna. Thank you, Sajal sir, for the learning, great learning. Then, sir, one question is also there. One of our past speaker, Candy S. Kandaswamy, he is the NSM in Wakad, and he has asked you, he is also watching. Sir, what is your advice for the current generation people who are entering to pharmaceuticals? Sajalda, you have been in pharma for last 30 years. You know our time, Cipla, Zydus, how we used to work. You see today's people, within 3 months, 6 months, they are changing companies. So what is your advice to the new generation who is entering to the pharma? Sajalda.
My advice to them is specifically talk state, confront reality, and most important, don't compromise with the values and the beliefs.
Great, great. So 2 points sir has told ki values and beliefs are very, very important. It is not important which company you are joining, which salary you are joining, what values the company is creating, what culture you are getting. Some money, 10%, 20% hike any company can offer, any small company can offer. But according to Sajal, the new joinees should see what culture I will get, what learning opportunities are there, what value system the company is carrying out, so that you can dedicate your whole life and enjoy your work. Sir, wonderful advice you have given. Thank you very much once again. And it is really a wonderful session. We thoroughly enjoyed. Over to you, Arpan, for the closing remarks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Yashwant sir. Once again, I will go back to Sajal sir and ask him about his experience on his first session at Life Pharma Coalition. What have been your learnings, sir?
So it was a very wonderful experience of mine to just to have along with the viewers and my live presentation. At the same time, getting this in a platform where I have shared my views on the leadership, and I have really feeling very excited.
Thank you. You have actually shared the excitement with all of us. In fact, as we say that you have empowered people around who have been a part of this presentation, and you have always believed in empowering leaders, because a leader is one who believes in delegating responsibilities and hand-holding people. But then there is always a small difference between hand-holding and micromanaging. But you have always been very safeguarding as far as hand-holding is concerned, and never let it enter into the fence of micromanaging. And that is how people have expressed themselves, and they are doing what they love doing, their best. And that is where I say passion and profession have come in the same line. Well, thank you so much, Sajal sir. And we look forward to your presence on LPC more often, sharing your learnings in your journey of 3 decades in the pharma industry. Well, there is time for me to thank Imagica Health our streaming partner, because this show wouldn't have been complete without their unfettered support towards Life Pharma Coalition in our endeavor towards spreading learning and development, not only across the pharma industry, but also the pharma management colleges. Well, before I leave, I always say about two things. First is COVID is not yet over. So let us please maintain the COVID appropriate behaviors of SMS, that is sanitization, mask and social distancing, along with the compulsory vaccination. Let us keep our environment clean and green. Let us plant more trees. And in this summer, let us keep some water outside so that we can feed the animals and the birds. Before I leave, there is always a story that I narrate, and today's story goes like this. There was a king who was very happy because he had everything that he could desire. His people were very happy, they were rich, but the only thing the king didn't have was a child. So the king spread news everywhere that any person who could give him a suggestion that how he could become a father will be rewarded suitably. So a tantric came to the king and said that, yes, sir, I know a way in which you can become a father. That means this kingdom will have the next heir. So the tantric said that the king needs to sacrifice a child of any person who can give their child for a sacrifice. Well, the news spread across the kingdom, and there was a poor man who had 3 children. The first 2 children, they used to work with the father, but the younger child, who was around 6 or 7 years old, he used to only pray to the God all the day, but never used to do any work. Now, this man was very poor and had a family of 5 people, he, his wife and 3 children. And he thought that why not give my younger child, who is absolutely good for nothing as far as the father is concerned, to the king, so that he can fulfill the tantric's wish and then have a child or become a father. So the poor man took this child to the king and said, Your Highness, I want to offer this child as a sacrifice in your endeavor to become a father and give this kingdom the next heir. So this child came to the king's place, and then the king said, tomorrow is a day when you will be given to the deity. So do you have any last wish today? So the child said that I would like to have 4 sand dunes. So the king said, people have such great wishes and you want just 4 sand dunes. Well, yes, I just need 4 sand dunes. So the sand dunes were brought to the child, and the child sat in the middle, and right at the 4 corners, he put the 4 sand dunes and started praying. Getting up, he kicked 1 sand dune, then the second. The king stopped him and said, why are you kicking the sand dunes? He said that let me finish, then I'll tell you. Then again, he kicked the third sand dune, and then again sat down and started praying to the Almighty. Now the king asked him once again, why did you kick the 3 sand dunes, but why did you leave the 4th one intact? The child said, the first sand dune was for my parents. They were responsible for my safeguard, but they did not, so I kicked them. The second sand dune was for my relatives. They were also responsible to safeguard me, but they did not, so I kicked that. The third sand dune is for my king. His responsibility is to look at the welfare of his subjects, but instead he is sacrificing me, so I have kicked it. Now the king asked, what is the 4th sand dune for? He said that the 4th sand dune is for my God, and I am sure he will protect me. Hearing this, the king said, stop, stop, stop all sacrifices. I have found the ultimate heir to my kingdom. I have found my son. I don't need any sacrifice. This boy has the charisma of being a leader. He is a person who believes in his Almighty, who has confidence in his ability. And this is the boy I'm looking for. So from that day onward, the king adopted this boy to be crowned the prince, and further will become the king. So dear friends, in this corporate world, we often overlook talent in our own company and instead look into organizations for getting talent. Is it because of the myopia that our hiring managers are suffering from, or is it their inability of identifying talent in their own backyard? Well, if proper care is taken, then a major step towards reducing attrition and enhancing retention can definitely be achieved in this wonderful pharma industry. So this is a step forward, which I think would definitely stop the organizations from bleeding because of the tremendous exodus of talent. As Yashwant sir said, that within 6 months, people are leaving. Within 3 months, people are leaving. So I think if we can actually identify the right talent and put them in the right position in the organization, probably we are going to build a milestone as far as retention strategies are concerned. So thank you so much, friends, for being on LPC 156. Thank you so much, Sajal sir, for being such a wonderful person and sharing your experiences on your more than 3 decades of experience in the pharma industry. We wish you all the best from LPC in your new avatar as the lead of Navadisha. And I'm sure that you are going to get immense success, and you are definitely going in your endeavor of identifying more leaders who are going to be a part of this pharma industry. Thank you so much, Yashwant sir, for always adding value to the discussion. And thank you so much, audience, for chipping in with your questions. And thank you, Naik sir, for being a part of this wonderful session and sharing your comments. You have always been a mentor who has been the wind below our wings in our endeavor to spread learning and development in the pharmaceutical industry. So this is Arpan Kumar Paul wishing you goodbye with a promise of reconnecting with all of you next Sunday at the same time with a new set of speaker, with a new set of thoughts and a new set of learning. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful Sunday. Goodbye and namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's connect.